Record. All right, Jonathan. So your show Kingdom is about to come back on tomorrow in its second half of the second season. It really feels like people are starting to catch on to this show. At least I've seen a lot more about it recently.
I hope so. You know, it's we've all put in so much effort. So it's you can do black box theater in Los Angeles, and it's very rewarding. At a certain point, you also hope you get more than 20 people in those seats. And with the grace of God and your help, this year, some more people are kind of catching on, and that's very gratifying.
Well, let's talk about the character that you played, Jay. He's so interesting. He's kind of a wild card, sort of a black sheep in this family of MMA fighters. Talk a bit about your character.
Sure. Jay is a deeply sensitive, drug and alcohol and fight addicted son. He is fiercely loyal. He is extraordinarily talented, but has a very difficult time finding that kind of equilibrium between fighting and addiction and self-realization or self-confidence. And that triangle tends to fall apart or be rejiggered throughout the seasons that we've had on our show.
Right. I mean, he goes through a lot of really interesting transformations throughout the first 20 episodes. And in this season in particular, I mean, there's a lot of really interesting things that happens to him. What were some of the highlights for you, moments where that were just an absolute joy for you to play?
Well, it's funny because, as an actor, you have this idea of what is the most exciting thing to receive in your inbox as a script or a scene, or a character or situation. And then you read it and then you kind of have to reformat what that means just on the paper. Right. And then all of a sudden you get to set and you realize, boy, this is a whole different animal than what I had anticipated when I read the scenes or the scene, and what I had hoped when I first first wanted to get into this craft. And by that, I mean to say, it's like, don't you want to walk in and see your mother as an actor? Don't you want the scene to be, don't you want to walk in, open the door and see your mother's overdosed on heroin? Like, that's an amazing opportunity for you as an actor. It's the stakes are so high. And you read the scene, you get the scene, go, oh, this is fantastic. This is the kind of stuff I want to be chewing on all the time as an actor. And then, then you start working on it, and then you show up on the day and you've got to open that door and you really have to see your mother overdosed on heroin, and maybe she's dead. And then you got to do that for the next 6 hours. So, it's like this welcomed opportunity. And one of the great joys of being on the show, one of the great privileges, and I think what sets our show apart from so many other shows on television, is that we are an auteur-driven show. This is a show that comes from one man in many respects, and that's Byron Belasco. And this is his vision and his world, and he's empowered by both our studio and our network to make these very kind of daring, courageous choices without a lot of interference. It takes a lot of courage on their part to empower him with that. So when you ask, like, what are some of the joys? It's like hitting these extraordinary highs and hitting these extraordinary lows. That's what's so exciting about Jay, and it's so exciting about the writing, the position he's put in. But it's just never always. It's one thing on paper. It's quite another thing on the day.
Yeah, I mean, one of the great things about the show is that there is this incredible drama to it, this almost like Shakespearean, I don't want to say melodrama, but I mean, the family dynamic in it is so great. You mentioned your mother, and there's such an interesting back and forth between the two of you, and the way that relationship has developed from episode 1 to episode 20. And those little nuances in there are so great to watch,
Thanks.
You're welcome.
It's nice to hear that. Kingdom is not bigger than life. It's life when it's big, and the MMA aspect of it, the fighting of Kingdom, is really just a crucible. It's a conduit to the drama. And what's so wonderful is that it makes all of these relationships heightened. It heightens all these relationships. It heightens all of the dynamics. And in Joanna Going, she's a very, very special woman, and she's an extraordinarily insightful actress. And it's so funny doing the scenes with her in particular. I'm like never quite sure we're hitting the bullseye, but there's something about when you're dealing with your family and being a man with your mother, someone who birthed you, who reared you, whether successful or not, has seen you from a child to become a man. It's a very different sort of a dynamic. I don't know if you can ever really feel like you've hit that perfect mark in that relationship. So I feel like I walk away from those scenes and leave it in our capable editor's hands. But look, all of drama is about relationships, and the best, most complicated relationships are our families. And at the end of the day, Kingdom is a show about family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I spoke to Joanna not too long ago, and it was kind of shocking to see her in real life after having watched her on a couple episodes of the show.
Very normal.
Yeah. There is this transformative quality, I think, in having met a lot of you and then seeing you in the show. There's a real kind of transformative quality, I think, in the characters that you guys play. How does the physicality, the outward appearance, help you as an actor with this character?
I mean, it's your body. It's a tool for you as an actor. You can't approach any character without thinking of how do you put the character into your body. So it's the same thing with a voice or an accent or any of the preparation you do as an actor to create a character and understand the world and the relationship and understand the text. And you have to put your body to work in all the characters. What's great about Kingdom is that we're given some real, the bar is always kind of set just high enough to reach, but a little further than one thinks is possible.
Mm-hmm.
I guess across the board for so many aspects of the show, but the physicality of it, audiences know whether or not you're going to lose weight or not for a weight cut. You can't have like a whole film about a hit pop song unless the pop song sounds poppy. You have to have the respect for that audience and for the people that you're representing. And we're really trying to honor this subculture that hasn't been represented before. And there's so many people that go into supporting these fighters and living this life. I mean, this is really their lives. So we take that responsibility to represent them very seriously. Oh, you have to lose the weight when you have to lose the weight. You have to have certain muscles that are capable of doing certain things. And that physicality is just a part of the characters. I do a lot of Alexander technique, which is very helpful. Kind of helps you find a neutral for your body. And so once you find a neutral, then you can figure out what the other gears are. And Jay is certainly revving very high in the highest.
Absolutely. And those fight scenes are particularly brutal to watch, especially because I think there's this redemptive quality in them. Like Jay is going through all of these problems in his life, and it really comes down to getting it out in the cage. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of for Jay, there's a lot of biblical themes, and this idea of sort of a self-flagellation, of a cleansing, of a ritual cleansing, of stepping into those baptismal waters, of finding life again with after a great deal of physical exertion. How do you stand back up? How do you find faith in yourself, in a higher power? Certainly, like the mother-father triangle, is a big part of it. But that redemptive quality that we find when we put ourselves in the most loneliest of situations, where we've prepared in a ritualistic way to offer ourselves up in some respects. It's all part and parcel of who this character is. And if you can't find that redemptive quality in fighting, then of course, he finds it in drugs and alcohol, and violence that maybe isn't as warranted, or females, or things like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jonathan, thank you so much. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing where this show goes in the next 10 episodes, and congratulations on...
No, thanks for watching the show with sort of the open heart and the clarity of eye, because we are really doing our very best, and it's wonderful to be able to hear such nice things from somebody like you.
Oh, well, thank you. Of course. It's a terrific show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.